Hey, I'm Cade Haddock Strong, one of the founding members of the Sapphic Lit pop-up bookstore. The pop-up bookstore is an author cooperative, but instead of groceries, we sell books. Our members include authors from across publishers and genres. We've got some indies in our ranks too. All the pop-up authors have one thing in common. We all write Sapphic literature, aka stories that feature women who love women. We most often set up our roving bookstore at Pride events, but we often hit queer-friendly bars too. One of the main goals of the pop-up bookstore is to introduce as many people as possible to Sapphic literature and the amazing authors who write it. That's why I'm here to introduce you to three incredible Sapphic authors, Rita Potter, Nan Campbell, and Suzanne Lenoir. Rita writes Sapphic fiction that's hopeful, eclectic, and authentic. Family is Forever is her 9th novel. Nan is the author of 2 contemporary romances published by Bold Strokes Books, with her 3rd, like they do in the movies, coming in December. Suzanne is a young adult fantasy author with Bold Strokes Books. Her latest novel, A Talent Ignited, is book 2 in the Valmoran series. Now that I have you all here, I've got a couple questions for each of you. Nan, if it's okay, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
So Nan, after winning a Lambda award with your debut novel, has it put increased pressure on you?
I'd say a little bit of yes and a little bit of no. No, because I already put pressure on myself, a major amount. So, there's only so much that winning an award could add to that. But also, yes, because now I feel like this is validation. I can do this, right? And I want each of my books that comes after this to be as good, if not better. And I hope that I'm improving as I go.
I have no doubt that you are. So, Suzanne, the next question is for you. I'm curious, what drew you to writing YA characters and a YA story?
This is a kind of a personal question because for me, it's about, I had a very difficult young adult experience. I lost my parents when I was 13. So I went through a lot of change between 13 and 24. And so the stories of young people in that moment of change just appeal to me. The different ways that young people handle the situations that get thrown in their path. And so that's just why I want to write about that period.
That makes a lot of sense to me. So, all right, Rita, you are next up. You've had 9 books published, which I can't believe. That's amazing. If you could start all over, what would you do differently?
I'd be a better writer. My debut novel was before I went through the writing academy with all of you guys. And my trilogy was pretty much written before I went through the writing academy. And I can go back and read my earlier work and cringe a little bit and say, oh, why did I do that? I've learned so much, just like Nan was talking, that she wants to get better with each book. So I find myself apologizing to people saying, read some of my stuff after the writing academy. I still love the stories that I wrote early on, but my writing could have been better. So I would have went through the writing academy first before I submitted my first book.
Yeah, hindsight, but
yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
It's great that you feel like you're growing, and I certainly do too. So that's great. All right, so Nan, I'll toss it back to you. What internal need or desire does writing stories fulfill for you?
I'm a huge reader, and one of the things that actually bums me out about being a writer is that I don't have as much time to read now. But writing fulfills in me, I think the question was, a need to tell my own stories, basically, because I don't see enough of my own experiences and my friends' experiences in media. And if I want to change that, I'm going to write it. And, you know, there's lots of already great authors, but there is always room for more.
For sure. I definitely agree with that. Okay, Suzanne, I'm going to toss it back to you. Are there any other genres you'd like to tackle other than YA fantasy? And if so, what would they be?
Yeah, I'd love to write a thriller, you know, kind of James Bondish. I'd love to try to write some contemporary romance, but I don't know if that's going to be my best genre. And I'd love to write a Hallmark movie, a Sapphic, of course, Hallmark screenplay. And I'd also like to write cyberpunk, a very traditional kind of gritty cyberpunk of the 80s and 90s was very appealing to me. And I'd like to write something in that genre as well. The one thing is no matter what I write, the one thing that's going to kind of be the undertone is it's almost always going to be either young adult or new adult. So people just getting started in their lives rather than fully formed adults.
Really fair. I look forward to the Hallmark movie.
Um,
So Rita, who is the ideal reader for your books?
You know, that's a really good question. I'm still trying to figure that out. You know, I sprinkle some contemporary romance in there, but I don't look at myself as a contemporary romance writer. And it's taken me a while to accept the fact that, you know, I'm not going to draw that audience, and it's okay. Because I write such eclectic stuff. I mean, whatever mood strikes me, that's what I'm going to write about. I mean, I go from apocalypse to, you know, volcano eruptions to, you know, the book that I'm out now is a Hallmark holiday book, but it was set in a homeless shelter. So, you know, you never know what I'm going to write. I don't even know what I'm going to write. So I'm still trying to figure out who my ideal audience is. People that I'd say the biggest thing is people that like things a little different with really deeply layered characters and not perfect characters. My characters all have some major flaws, and I'm going to take you on an adventure, and I'm going to have them crawling around inside their heads. And I like people that want to think. I'm not going to write the stuff that is just, oh, isn't this a sweet romance? I've tried, it doesn't work, and they end up in a homeless shelter. So what can I say?
All right, Suzanne, just one more question for you. What is the most misunderstood thing about young adult novels?
Now, this is easy. They're not just for young adults. That is the biggest misunderstanding. My story, put my book up. My stories are about young adults, but they're not just for young adults. I'm not writing just for young people. Anybody should be able to pick up the book and get something from it. And I love young adult fiction, and I read quite a bit of it. And some of the characteristics of it, besides the age range of the characters, is that generally they can be quite violent in as far as YA fantasy, but they rarely have the erotic component that adult contemporary romance has. But they have, you know, they still have romance a lot of times. And I just think that that's the biggest misconception is somehow they got to be 20, you know, 16, 18, 20, whatever, to enjoy the books. So go out and read YA.
I do. I like YA. So,
I do too.
All right. So Nan, back to you. Of all the genres out there, why sapphic contemporary romance?
Well, I love sapphic contemporary romance. And like I said before, I want to see it more in pretty much every aspect of the media that I consume. And my new release, like they do in the movies, has a character who it writes sapphic rom-coms. And she is somebody who really wants to see it on screen. And she's told no over and over again, and she refuses to change what she writes in order to fit the fashion of what Hollywood wants. She is determined that she's going to see this on screen someday. And I want to see her succeed.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Rita, just one last question for you. Your stories are so varied. What comes first, the characters or the premise?
I'm really different. I know a lot of people are more character driven. My characters, I don't know my characters when I get ready to start a novel. It's always the premise, or it's the setting, or it's something. I read a ton of nonfiction, and usually when I'm doing my research, it's like, oh, I could see a character that has some traits of this person I read about, this real person. And so it's always the premise. It's always either a what would happen if, or it's, let's have a volcano eruption, or let's have this. I never start with a character. I don't even know the characters. I get to know them as I'm writing them. I don't know them really well. And then I have to go back and fix things, though, because it's like, oh, I didn't know them well enough, and they wouldn't have done that at the beginning of the book. Now I got to change it. But yeah, always the premise first.
I love that. So,
and
all
you're a
right, well,
beta reader, so I do that sometimes. Like, what
Yes,
the heck
I
did you
do.
do? That wasn't what you said in the beginning of the book.
All right, so thank you, all of you. So now I think each of you have a reading for us. Would one of you like to go first?
I'll go
Don't
first.
jump at the chance. Read, Nan, you want to go?
Sure.
Okay.
So like I mentioned before, my December release is called Like They Do in the Movies. And it's basically a Hollywood romance. It's this screenwriter who is actually writing gossip at the time when the book starts, and an actress, a pretty famous actress. And the excerpt that I'm going to read, they have just escaped a run-in with the paparazzi. And in order to do that, they've kind of taken refuge in my writer character's apartment, which is very modest. Okay. Fran busied herself clearing empty beer bottles from the coffee table and tidying the kitchen. When she unfolded a dish towel and placed it over the piled up dirty dishes in the sink, Chelsea let out a laugh. I didn't know I'd be having company today. Fran's defensiveness was cute. She opened the fridge. Would you like anything? I have beer or strawberry jello. Those two pathetic items are all I can offer. Chelsea couldn't stop grinning. Just some water, please. She poured Chelsea a glass. Have a seat. Is that TV stand from IKEA? I think I had the same one years ago. I have no idea. It belongs to my roommate. This chair is mine. Fran stroked the threadbare arms of the chair with affection. A chair like this could never be accused of being fashionable, but it sure is comfortable. Chelsea gave the chair a haughty once-over. It'll be a dark day indeed when maroon pleather comes back into fashion. Despite the scruffy furnishings, she felt comfortable in Fran's small living room. It reminded her of her first place in Canoga Park. Here's what I think we should do. You return the two-wheeled pizza death trap and come back with the car. I'll wait here. Maybe take a nap on your very ugly chair. Test those claims of comfort you're asserting. Fran clapped her hands on either side of the headrest as if they were the recliner's ears. Don't you listen to her, she said to the chair. You're beautiful to me. Chelsea laughed again. It was incredible that she felt so at ease after the stress of less than an hour ago.
Excellent. I remember reading that scene as a beta reader, and I love it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Suzanne, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm just going to jump in, but I'm reading from The Talent Ignited, my second book in the Balmoral series, which comes out next Tuesday. That is November 14th. So I'm pretty excited. Evelyn watched the old man's companion dismount and walk toward their cart. He was as thin as his steed, with a chin too long for his face. Her throat tightened when he leaned over the railing and looked at the travel forge. She interrupted. When my father hears of this, he'll tell Lord Guymar of your behavior. She directed her speech to the first man, but kept her eyes on the younger one. Whether the tone of her voice or the words themselves startled him, the young man stepped away from the cart. The older man laughed. And who might your father be? Tinker? A chapman? Trading in cast-offs? Embarrassment flooded her. She looked at her gown, dirtied from weeks on the road, a giant tear where the paladin's sword had pierced her side. Death had claimed her, but Annika had wrenched her back from the great sleep. Monica, who hid under the tarp where the younger man stood an arm's length away. Lord Cedric of Marsendale, called Finn. He held his horse's reins and patted its neck, speaking as if this was just another day for a pleasure ride. The older man came to Evelyn's side and looked at her more carefully. Lady Evelyn. His gaze swept over her from head to toe. I didn't recognize you. Are you on pilgrimage to atone for your shunning? She averted her eyes for a moment. His question sounded sympathetic rather than critical, but still it stung. He moved closer to her horse. We'll take this mount, he told his companion.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you.
I wonder who will be next. I think that will be Rita. Go for it.
I'm going to be reading from Family is Forever. It's my holiday romance in the homeless shelter. And I will just start the scene and let the readers figure out what I'm talking about. Maddie gazed up at Piper with her big brown eyes. Mommy, it's okay to be sad angry. We all feel bad sometimes. Piper smiled. Thanks, honey. I know you don't like Christmas. Maddie looked down at the floor. But is it okay that we do? Of course it is. Damn it. She'd never wanted to be someone who took the joy out of Christmas for her children just because she hated it. How about you and Paxton teach me how to love Christmas? Maddie's face lit up. Paxton will be happy. He loves Christmas too. But he says we can't talk about it. Why not? Because it makes you sad. Piper wanted to cry. What had she done? Maddie squeezed Piper's hand and said, Paxton says you're happy the rest of the time, all year long, so we need to be extra good at Christmas until it's all over. And that's my reading from
That is such a
Families
sweet
Are Forever.
reading. All right. Well, thank you, Nan, Rita, and Suzanne for being here today. And by the way, all three authors that we heard from today are members of the Pop-Up Bookstore Gang. And so maybe you can catch them at one of our future pop-ups. The next pop-up will be in DC on Saturday, December 9th. And to find out more about that event and other upcoming events, check out our website. It's sapphic.litpopup.com. The site includes details about many other authors who are part of the Sapphic Lit Pop-Up, and you can find us soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Meet the Authors.
And we want to thank you too, Cade, for doing this and for the pop-up for sponsoring this. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was wonderful. So thank you all.